Burning the candle at both ends and getting to the point where, like me, not once, but maybe twice, going, I've had it, I can't do it, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, this just sucks. But I wanted to help you understand the three basic functions of your business and where your time's being sucked in. That's why it's so important. Hey guys, welcome to the Painter's Circle, where we help painting business owners scale their operations, increase profitability, and gain more time freedom. I'm Taz Mullis, and in this podcast, I'll share actionable tips, expert strategies, and real-world insights that'll help you grow your painting business without burning you out. Ready to take your painting business to the next level? Let's go. Oh yeah! Hey guys, trust you're super well. It's Taz here again, and on today's episode, we're going to be covering a topic that comes up a lot. I'm not sure if this happens to you. I know it definitely happened to me in the early stages of my business, right through while growing my business, and that is working too many hours and getting burnt out. Now, I don't know if this has ever happened to you. Maybe it's different for you, but I know for me when I was starting out back in the year 2000, that I had this theory of business, and my theory of business was I am going to outwork everybody. So I had this idea, if I'm going to succeed in business, not only am I going to work hard, I'm going to work longer and harder as much as I can. Now, I was young, and if you've ever felt like that before, you may have had that experience. And I was working 70 hours, 80 hours. I remember working 7 days a week for 2 years straight, only taking like Christmas and Easter, a couple of public holidays off. And this is the one thing that I learned. I burnt out twice. You can't outwork work. Now, this is not a conversation about not working hard, because I find it very difficult to believe you can get anywhere successfully without doing the reps, doing the work. But working on the things that don't move the needle and doing more of that isn't going to help you. Now, I'll give you some context. Like I said, back in the early 2000s, I had this idea. I'm going to work really hard and I'm going to work a lot. 6, 7 days a week, 80, 90, and I remember working up to 100 hours a week. And I had this theory in my head, I'm going to outwork you, all my competition, that's the one thing. And then to get better, I thought to win more work, I was going to, guess what? Drop my prices. All that happened was I won a ton of work, I worked a lot of hours, and I burnt out. So by 2002, I burnt out the first time, and I downsized significantly because I worked out I can't do 100 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. It's virtually, may not be impossible for you, but I know for me, I looked ahead and go, I can't do this for the next 40 years of my life. So I don't know if you've ever had that experience yourself where you felt burnt out, burning the candles at both ends, and feel like you're being overwhelmed because of so much work. I wasn't too bright, so I did it again. So the second time I went, you know what? Maybe I didn't work hard enough. So I went again. And about almost 2.5 years later, I hit the same wall, burnt out again. And by this time, I was very unhealthy. Now I'm in my early 20s. I'm very unhealthy. I would say a bit overweight. I was probably drinking too much alcohol, and I was passing out at night on the couch just from exhaustion. So this podcast, I want to share with you what worked for me, what's working for other people that I speak to and our clients that we work with, so that you don't burn out. You don't have to do it twice, maybe 3 times, because I almost done it a third time. And what are the pitfalls that you could avoid from burning out? Now I just want to cover why that's probably happening. Now, the feeling of burning out happens in different areas of your business. I'm going to cover a few right now. If they apply to you, great, let's work your way out of it. If they don't, I'll move into the next section for you. So an important factor of burning out is this theory called decision fatigue. Decision fatigue is like micromanaging. Do you sometimes feel like in your business, every decision comes through you? You have to micromanage operations, sales, quotes, accounts, invoicing, debtors, collecting money, HR, doing ads, recruitment, insert all the little things that happen in your business. Every decision has to come through you. Well, what happens is when you're holding up all these decisions, or you're juggling the 27 balls in the air, unfortunately, you're going to drop one from time to time. So you can become overworked and overwhelmed just by having to remember and manage all the decisions that happen in your business. Now, sometimes, and when I say sometimes, I'm gonna say most of the time when I'm talking to business owners, that comes down to the business owner letting go. And what does that show up in the real world? What I hear a lot of is, Taz, you just don't understand. It's just quicker if I do it myself. Have you ever said that? The problem is, you're not after just speed. You're after time back and releasing decisions made by somebody else. Because as long as every decision, let's say you have all these questions and problems in your business and they sit over here, all these activities are happening over here, and they're working their way through the business to an outcome. If every decision that comes in your business has to go through you, and there's 10 or 20 different activities a week that have to come through you, guess what? You become the bottleneck. And then no one else can do their job or move to their task because they're waiting for you to make a decision. The problem is you don't have time to analyze, critique, think about all the activities that are coming, let alone remember to make those decisions in real time. So decision fatigue is a real problem for most business owners. And what does that look like in the real world? It's micromanaging. If you are micromanaging every decision, I encourage you to stop and start thinking about who can help me with this particular activity. Now you're probably thinking, okay, Taz, in the real world of business, what does that look like? Now, I'm gonna try and do the best I can in this podcast. I can't do a whole business workshop on this, but fundamentally, your painting business has 3 core functions. Input, which is sales and marketing. Throughput, which is scheduling and delivery. Output, which is business administration, and tracking the numbers. Another way of saying that is input is making money, throughput is spending money, output is working how much money you've lost or made, usually made, okay? So if you think of those 3 areas of your business, if you are overwhelmed, overworked, doing 60, 70, 80 plus hours per week, your first point of call is to work out in those 3 core function areas, input, throughput, output, where is your time being sucked into? How many hours per week are you spending on quoting and sales activities? How many hours per week of your 60, 70, 80, 100 hours a week are you spending in operational activities? Anything to do with operations, scheduling, material, going to jobs, checking on clients, deliveries, trestles, scaffold, paint, whatever happens to do that is a function of getting the job done. How many hours per week do you spend on average in that area? And then how many hours on average per week do you spend on output? Business administration, accounting, invoicing, payroll, HR, everything to do with business operations, not operational throughput, which is the thing that you do. So your job now is to work out, of those hours per week, where is your time best spent? If you're not sure how to work that out, I'm going to help you break it down really simply. Your time, or every person's time in your business, has a return on investment or a return on time. So for me, I have not been able to find a way to make money from tracking numbers and doing admin tasks and doing bookkeeping. I don't know how to make money from that. It's an actual cost to the business. It's a vital cost, but it's a cost to the business. But what happens with business owners, they fall into this hole of being overworked, overwhelmed, and doing too many hours, is because they go, you know what, Taz, I need to do this because it costs me $40 an hour, and I need someone, let's say a full week, $40 an hour. That's $1,600 a week for someone to run my administration, keep my reports up to date, keep all the data up to date, keep everything, reading emails, taking phone calls. That's $1,600. I want to save $1,600. Let me tell you this. You cannot save your way to success. Now, if this is costing you $1,600 if you had to employ someone to do this job for you, but you got 20 hours of your life back, 20 hours per week, 50 weeks per year, 1,000 hours per year back, that's a massive number. Now, there's only 40 hours per week by 1,000. You know how many months of time you're saving right now? But I hear what you're saying, but Taz, it cost me $600. Okay, cool. Let's move into operations. If you're on the tools, you're probably charging yourself out at a multiple of something. So let's say you're paying your painters $50 per hour. More than likely you have to charge him out at, or her out at a multiple of that. I'm gonna round up for easy numbers to $100 an hour. If you are on the tools and you're paying yourself $50 an hour and you're charging yourself out at $100 an hour, guess what? You've made 50. But if you stayed in here doing admin because you wanted to save $40 an hour, you're actually $60 better off getting back on the tools than doing admin. Now, I'm not telling you this to justify why you need to stay on the tools. I'm telling you this because this is an exchange of value for the time in the business. So you're not valuable to the business doing a task that is $40 an hour when you can go back and work on the tools and charge $100 an hour for that task and be $60 better off. Even that little jump, you are better off buying your time back and getting on the tools. Now, we're talking small change right now because ultimately we're trying to get you from being overworked, overwhelmed and doing 60, 80 hours per week. So we've dropped down from 80 to 60 hours a week. Now, to be realistic, you're probably going to do at least 2 to 5 max of admin time because you have emails you want to talk to people too. But you're reduced at 15 hours. Now, I'm not saying you move it over to operations. I'm giving you the example of an ROI of your time in your business. You will be better off financially not doing admin and running the team well because, remember, input is making money, throughput is spending money. If you're focusing on spending it wisely, operations, materials, and all your cost of sales activities, you're going to keep more on the back end. But let's take it to where I'm encouraging you to go. Because your highest ROI in your business for you as the business owner is in income producing activities, whether it be in sales, relationships, or nailing your marketing, because that's where you make the money. Input, you make the money. Throughput, you spend the money. Output, you track the money. If you're using your time to track money, you can't make money. If you use your time to save money, you can save money, but there's a cap. There's only so efficient you can be. But if you use your time, you can exponentially increase sales because there's this funny thing that happens in sales. If you're moving from $1 million per year, which is about 84K per month in revenue, and you want to, let's say double, you want to get to 2 million. So in the next 18, 24 months, so in the next 1 to 2 years, you want to double your revenue. So add another $1 million, which is adding another 84K per year. You don't necessarily have to do twice as many hours. You could find better clients. You could increase your average job value size. You could move from small residential repaint to larger commercial jobs. Same amount of effort. So your ROI in your time over in sales doesn't require you to do twice, 3 times as many hours. So your time in your business, I'll pick $1 million. You're doing $1 million per year. And we said you're doing 10 hours per week, remember? In sales and marketing. 10 hours by 50 weeks, it's 500 hours. 500 hours by $1 million, that's $2,000 per hour. Your ROI of your time invested in the business in input related activities is 2K per hour. Work it out in your business. This is how you work it out. Go in your business, work out last financial year or whatever period it is, the total revenue divided by the total number of hours that you spent in that segment of your business equals the ROI of your activities in that section. Now, the point of this video is moving away from being overworked and overwhelmed. doing 60, 80, 100 hours, being burnt out, burning the candle at both ends, and getting to the point where, like me, not once, but maybe twice, going, I've had it, I can't do it, I don't want to do this for the rest of my life, this just sucks. But I wanted to help you understand the three basic functions of your business and where your time's being sucked in. That's why it's so important to not overcomplicate your business and operate from those three functions and where you're spending your time. Guess what? I get asked continually, and you may have had this question yourself. I know I used to ask this question all the time. How can I manage my time better? Or I need some time management skills. Or how do I get all this work done? There's not enough hours in the day, in the week, in the month. Have you ever asked those questions? I know I have, and I continue to ask myself. And what I was trying to do is, how do I optimize my time in the week? So how do I become more efficient? How do I have a really simple calendar system and count with 15-minute intervals and hour intervals? And what I learned over time is, once we started getting better and we started growing and we had kids, had other pressures, family pressures, then up to right now where we run 3 businesses, Colin and I, we have 8 kids, 7 at home. So managing time felt way more stressful because I couldn't manage time. It was impossible for me to manage time. Now, I can't remember where I learnt this. I know it happened because I was under so much pressure. It's funny how what pressure does to you. It forces you to make decisions. I started moving away from trying to optimize and manage my days, weeks, and months, and moved to going, if I can't, and maybe I'm not smart enough to do this, manage my time, I need to stop managing my time. I need to start managing my priorities. What I mean by managing priorities, it's about this fundamental, let's say, principle or framework that it is your attention that is the most important asset, not your time. So it's where you focus your attention. So if you focus your attention on micromanaging all the decisions in your business, it is impossible to manage your time because there's not enough time in the day to do every function of your business. There's not to do it effectively anyway. So rather than going, how do I manage my time? You have to get really good at managing your priorities. Now, the only way that I can run and manage 3 businesses and a ton of kids and the puppy and a couple of cats and insert all the family activities that we have to do is that I'm very clear on my default diary. When I say default diary, I have a diary that has big rocks in there, has pieces of the businesses in there that have to happen at that period of time. So I run a very structured week, and people will always ask me, Taz, is having so much structure reducing your freedom? No, it's a complete opposite. Having structure creates space in my diary. If you were to see my diary, I have lots of white space. So Mondays is planning and QPay. Tuesdays is all coaching consulting activities. Wednesdays is pretty much my day off, and I do cool stuff like this. Thursdays is coaching activities, and Fridays is my day off too. So I actually get almost 2 days off per week with all the activities because I manage my priorities. Now, it gets really difficult when you don't understand what is the priority in your business. Just quickly, guys, if you're a painting business owner and you're overworked, overwhelmed, and underpaid, we can help. Hit the link below in the show notes to learn more. Now back to the episode. Getting back to the 3 core functions, input, throughput, output. When you build your business with the correct workflows, processes, systems, and people that manage output, that manage throughput, I know my highest value to my business is in input, so that's where my time goes into. Now, whether you're off the tool, you're getting off the tools, you're building your business, you're building an admin team, you're building a sales team, you're putting in job management software, whatever it happens to be, that is the most important thing for you to do in your business. So other than understanding the best ROI of your time, the next important thing is understanding your default diary and having priorities set. Now, in your business, there are going to be some high priorities. One is going to be making sure you invoice, the cadence of your invoicing. The frequency, is it weekly, fortnightly, monthly? It has to happen no matter what. Planning has to happen no matter what. Sales has to happen no matter what. You would be surprised how many business owners I speak to that have a sales problem, and the one question that I ask them straight away is, how many hours per week do you spend talking to previous clients, current clients, future clients? I always get a blank stare, like, oh, 1 or 2. If you're not allocating time, a priority in your business to be communicating with your clients, it's unlikely that you're going to make sales. So your default diary needs to be filled with the highest level priority activities. Now, when you're starting out, it's going to be full. It's going to be a mess. Now, don't get me wrong, my calendar used to be chockers. It looked like a Rubik's Cube. Every block was filled left and center. But over time, when you're very clear and understand how many hours in output, how many hours in throughput, how much input, and you start bringing people in to help you. There's 3 ways that people can help you. You can build a process, you can build a system, or you can get people. You can have all 3, but those 3 things are going to help you get your time back. So default diary, understand where your time is being sucked in, input, throughput, output, measuring it and reducing it. And the last thing you can work on is, once you've got your default diary, it ultimately comes down to you putting boundaries. Like, you have to get to the point that when you have a time allotted for a project or a task, you're on point to do that task at that time period, and you just do the work. And then when you're done, you finish, you move on. I learned this probably 10 years ago from a really good mate, Paul. He shared with me how he ran a super massive 8-figure business. And it was around this problem with time management. And he goes, Taz, you have to be ruthless with time. Now, for context, you're not ruthless with people, with time. So you have priorities, and the priorities mean you get those tasks done in that time frame. You have to be urgent, because urgency in life matters. That doesn't mean you're ruthless with people. So when people require your time, you give time to your people. So your time is spent with people. Your allocated priority time is spent on tasks. So that's the 3rd thing that you can do right now to significantly improve and reduce the amount of overwhelm and overwork you're doing. Now, is it easy? No, because the reality is only you can lead you. No one's going to make you do it. But over time, you will get better because reps are moved out. So over time, you create your default diary. It looks really full. You start working out, where is my time best spent? I may have to drop this ball over here because this ball over here does not add value to the business. I feel like it's important, but it's not important to the outcome of the business. Then you create your default diary. Then you create boundaries. I like to call them time and value constraints. For me, I know family time is sacred. So I have constraints around it. No one touches it. I have time constraints. If I'm working on a project, I'm working on the project. But the key critical thing is that you have to drive it. You lead you set your boundaries. It's going to feel difficult. It's going to feel difficult at the beginning because you're moving away from the need to be busy. The scary thing is most people are busy because that's what they want. I know it sounds contradictory, and it's true. Every time I'm in a room of business owners, every time a room of business owners, there's a couple of questions that always come up. These are the top 2, and these 2 don't actually matter. How many guys you got? That matters. And how busy are you? Busyness is not the goal. Being busy doesn't mean things are going really well. Being productive and effective is what you want to be. You want to have a pipeline of healthy jobs, but the goal is not to be busy for busy's sake. People mistake, I want to be busy, let's be busy, and be real busy. You know what? You actually get what you want. And you know what happens? You end up doing 60, 70, and 80 hours per week. The goal of business is to buy back your time from output, buy back your time from throughput. Unless you really love doing the thing that you're doing, then you're going to hire someone for input. So guys, if you are currently feeling like you're overwhelmed and overworked and doing 60, 70, 80 hours a week and feel like you're micromanaging, I understand, I've been there multiple times. I think I sat in that period between 1996 to about 2007. It took me a long time. I sat in that going burn it out until I had this, not necessarily an aha moment, but someone shared with me where my time was best spent in the business. And that's another podcast. But once that person showed me where the value of my time was, I started understanding my job is not to save money over here, but to move to activities that actually make money and keep money in the business. Why do you want to do that? Because I seriously doubt you got into business and your outcome was, you know what? I want to be so busy that I'm doing 60, 70, 80 hours a week so I can burn out, I can be unhealthy, unfit, never home, never see my kids, and be so tired on the weekends, I can't do anything. I do not think that is the reason why you got in business. More than likely, the reason you got in business is probably one of three reasons. Ultimately one reason, but one of three reasons. Probably to make some money, probably to get your time back, and probably to have a business that you have some sort of control over. But ultimately, if you round them up, it's freedom. So it's not, you didn't get into this to be busy and overworked. How do you do that? Get a default diary. Start adding up the hours that you're spending in those three core categories. How many hours do you spend in input, which is sales and marketing? How many hours do you spend in throughput, which is scheduling and operations? Everything to do with completing the job. Then how many hours per week do you spend in administration and job tracking and data management? Add them up, and your job now is to reduce them by either having a process, a system, or a person to replace you so you can work on higher activities so you can start making more money, getting your time back, and having some control of your business. Sound cool? All right. Stay cool, be well. But before I do that, if you liked what we shared today, make sure you don't forget to subscribe. Just find the button below, subscribe, and you'll be on the list, and look forward to seeing you on the interwebs. Okay, see you later. Bye. Hey guys, if you got value from today's episode, make sure to subscribe so you never miss expert tips. If you want some support, check out the link in the show notes and see how we can help you. Don't forget to follow us on socials @PainterCoach. Stay cool, be well, and as usual, see you in the interwebs. Bye.